Across the rolling hills and fertile valleys of France, a storm gathered. It was a storm of steel, propelled by the clashing ambitions of two powerful kingdoms, England and France. For over a century, from 1337 to 1453, their rivalry would erupt in a brutal dance of swords and arrows, forever etching its mark on the canvas of European history. This was no mere conflict. It was the 100 Years' War, an epic saga of courage, betrayal, and devastating warfare. Yet, amidst the carnage, heroes emerged. Kings, knights, and even a peasant girl would rise to challenge destiny. This is their story. The roots of the 100 Years' War ran deep, entwined with the intricate web of medieval politics and lineage. This was not merely a clash of armies, but a complex struggle involving the very fabric of medieval society. At the heart of the conflict lay a dispute over the succession to the French throne. The question of who had the legitimate right to rule France was a matter of intense debate and contention. In 1328, Charles IV of France died without a male heir. His death left a vacuum of power and a question mark over the future of the French crown. His closest male relative was his nephew, Edward III of England. Edward's claim was based on his mother, Isabella of France, who was Charles's sister. However, the French nobility, wary of English influence, crowned Philip VI, a cousin of Charles IV, as king. They invoked the Salic law, which excluded inheritance through the female line, to justify their decision. Edward III, young and ambitious, initially accepted this decision. He was preoccupied with consolidating his own power in England and dealing with internal issues. Yet, the simmering tension over his legitimate claim to the French throne remained. Edward's acceptance was more a matter of political expediency than genuine acquiescence. This dynastic dispute, coupled with economic tensions over control of vital trade routes like the Flemish wool trade, created a powder keg of resentment and ambition. The wool trade was crucial to both economies, and control over it meant significant economic power. Adding fuel to the fire was the issue of Aquitaine, a large duchy in southwestern France held by the English kings. Aquitaine was a valuable and strategically important region, and its control was a point of contention. The French monarchs, eager to consolidate their power, sought to regain control of Aquitaine, further straining Anglo-French relations. The region's wealth and resources made it a coveted prize. By the 1330s, the stage was set for a conflict that would consume generations. The political, economic, and territorial disputes created a volatile environment ripe for war. The tinder was dry, all it needed was a spark. That spark would come in the form of a series of provocations and escalations that would ignite the long and bloody conflict known as the 100 Years' War. Edward III's ambitions played a crucial role in the unfolding drama. His desire to assert his claim to the French throne and expand his influence drove him to take bold and provocative actions. In 1340, Edward declared himself the rightful king of France, challenging Philip VI's authority directly. This declaration was a bold move that escalated the conflict to new heights. The ensuing years saw numerous battles and skirmishes across France. Both sides experienced victories and defeats, with the fortunes of war shifting back and forth. The war had a profound impact on the common people, who bore the brunt of the devastation. Villages were burned, crops destroyed, and countless lives were lost in the relentless cycle of violence. The 100 Years' War left a lasting legacy on both England and France. It reshaped the political landscape, altered the course of history, and left scars that would take generations to heal. As we reflect on this tangled web of history, we see how the ambitions of a few can shape the destinies of many. The 100 Years' War serves as a reminder of the complexities and consequences of power struggles. The echoes of this conflict still resonate today, a testament to the enduring impact of a war that began with a dispute over a throne and evolved into a defining chapter of medieval history. That spark came in 1337, when Philip VI of France, in a move designed to assert his authority, confiscated the English-held Duchy of Aquitaine. Edward III, his patience exhausted, responded by formally claiming the French throne and launching an invasion across the English Channel. English Knight, the early years of the war saw a series of English victories, showcasing our military prowess and innovative tactics. At the Battle of Crécy in 1346, our longbowmen, their arrows darkening the sky, cut down the flower of French chivalry, including the blind King John of Bohemia. This victory, followed by the capture of Calais in 1347, established England as a dominant force on the European mainland. The longbow, a weapon of devastating range and accuracy, had proven its worth, rewriting the rules of medieval warfare. France, reeling from these defeats, faced a long and arduous path to recovery. Their armies, once considered the finest in Europe, had been humbled. Yet the spirit of resistance, fueled by a deep-seated patriotism, began to stir in the French heartland. After a period of relative peace, the 100 Years' War roared back to life under the reign of Henry V, the ambitious and charismatic King of England. English King as Henry V. In 1415, I am determined to revive my claim to the French throne. Thus, I launch a daring invasion of France. His campaign culminated in the Battle of Agincourt, fought on a muddy field in northern France on October 25, 1415. Outnumbered and facing a much larger French army, Henry's forces, inspired by their king's leadership, achieved an improbable victory. English King, as Henry V, Agincourt, like Crécy before it, solidified England's military superiority and sent shockwaves through France. Henry's victory, achieved against overwhelming odds, became a defining moment in English history, a testament to courage, discipline, and tactical brilliance. With France on the brink of collapse, Henry V seemed poised to achieve what had eluded his predecessors, the conquest of France and the realization of his dynastic ambitions. Just when all hope seemed lost for France, a young peasant girl from the small village of Domremy, driven by divine visions, emerged as a beacon of hope. This girl, known to history as Joan of Arc, was born into a humble peasant family. Despite her modest beginnings, she would rise to become one of the most iconic figures in French history. Her story is one of faith, courage, and an unyielding belief in her divine mission. French peasant as Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, barely 17 years old, believed she was chosen by God to save France from English domination. Her unwavering faith and charisma inspired the demoralized French troops, who saw in her a symbol of divine intervention. In 1429, Joan, at the head of a French army, lifted the English siege of Orléans, a strategic city on the Loire River. This was no small feat. The siege had lasted for months, and the French forces were on the brink of collapse. Joan's arrival brought a renewed sense of purpose and determination. Clad in armor and carrying her distinctive banner, she led the charge with a fervor that seemed almost otherworldly. Her presence on the battlefield was electrifying, and her ability to rally the troops was nothing short of miraculous. French peasant as Joan of Arc. This victory, considered a turning point in the war, revitalized French resistance and marked the beginning of the end for English aspirations in France. Joan's courage and conviction, embodied in her famous cry, "For God and for France," resonated throughout the kingdom, igniting a spirit of national unity that transcended social divides. Her influence extended beyond the battlefield. She became a symbol of hope and resilience for the entire nation. Her tragic execution at the stake in 1431, condemned as a heretic by the English, only served to further galvanize the French cause, transforming her into a martyr and a potent symbol of French resilience. Even in death, Joan's legacy endured. She was posthumously exonerated and canonized as a saint, her life and deeds continuing to inspire generations. The story of Joan of Arc is a testament to the power of faith and the indomitable human spirit. Her journey from a simple peasant girl to a national heroine and saint is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, a single individual can make a profound difference. Joan's life and legacy remain a source of inspiration, a beacon of hope, and a symbol of the enduring strength and resilience of the French people. The Hundred Years' War, far from being a single continuous conflict, was a series of battles, skirmishes, and political maneuvers that spanned over a century. It was a complex and multifaceted struggle that saw periods of intense fighting interspersed with uneasy truces and shifting alliances. These truces were often fragile, and the alliances were ever-changing, reflecting the turbulent nature of medieval politics. The war was not just a military conflict, but also a diplomatic chess game, with both sides seeking to outmaneuver each other on and off the battlefield. It was a war of attrition, a brutal tug-of-war that reshaped the political and social landscapes of both England and France. The constant back and forth of territorial control left deep scars on the land and its people, altering the course of history for both nations. In France, the war fostered a sense of national identity. The threat of foreign domination, the constant presence of enemy forces, and the devastation wrought by the conflict brought the French people together in a way that had never been seen before. This burgeoning sense of unity was further strengthened by the emergence of charismatic figures like Joan of Arc. Her leadership and vision inspired the French people, giving them hope and a sense of purpose in their struggle against the English. Joan of Arc's influence was profound, and her legacy endured long after her death. She became a symbol of French resistance and unity, helping to forge a sense of national identity that would continue to shape France for centuries to come. The war also led to the centralization of power in the French monarchy. As the conflict dragged on, successive kings took steps to consolidate their authority, bringing more and more of the country's disparate regions under their direct control. This process of centralization helped to create a more unified kingdom, with a stronger and more cohesive government. The French monarchy emerged from the war with greater power and authority, setting the stage for the future development of the French state. In contrast, England, despite its early victories, emerged from the war politically and economically exhausted. The financial burden of maintaining a large army abroad, coupled with the costs of the prolonged conflict, strained the English economy to its limits. The war also exacerbated internal divisions within the English nobility. Factionalism and infighting weakened the monarchy's grip on power, leading to a period of political instability and turmoil. These internal divisions made it difficult for the English monarchy to maintain control over its territories, both at home and abroad. The loss of their French possessions, save for Calais, was a significant blow to England's ambitions on the continent. The loss of these territories marked the end of England's continental ambitions and forced them to turn their attention inwards. The focus shifted from external conquest to internal consolidation, as the English monarchy sought to strengthen its hold on the country. This inward focus laid the groundwork for significant changes in English society and governance. The monarchy began to implement reforms aimed at centralizing power and reducing the influence of the nobility, setting the stage for the future development of the English state. As England turned its attention inwards, it also began to look outwards in a different way. The end of the 100 Years' War coincided with the beginning of the Age of Exploration, a period of unprecedented maritime expansion and discovery. This new focus on exploration and trade would have a profound impact on England's future, shaping its destiny as a global power.